Oh, Slam, here we go.
All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Uncle Slam, and welcome to the most electrifying run of the marathon. Joining me on commentary, we have the former 90% world record holder, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello, I'm Crep, and I was the former 90% world record holder.
For like half an hour.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to restart the file here, and there's no real good cue for when time starts, so just be ready for me any second now. And begin. All right, so this is ElecHead. This is a 2D puzzle platformer released in 2021, and the main gimmick behind it is that Elec here is constantly pouring out electricity from his head. So you'll see anything he touches will turn golden. That means it's powered on. So that will affect platforms like these that only exist when they have power. It'll affect moving platforms, lasers, checkpoints, all sorts of things. Easily fixed. But anyway, it'll also activate lasers like that. Obviously, we want to avoid those. So some of you are probably wondering, hey, what does the alternate end category mean? Well, throughout the game, there are these golden key cards like the one I just collected. And in order to actually access the alternate end, we need to collect every single one of those 20. So that's what you'll primarily see me doing in the run. Crep, if you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so when Elec touches them, it actually doesn't immediately collect it. It kind of like follows it and gravitates toward Elec before it collects. It's sort of similar, I think, to like strawberries in Celeste, I think. It's sort of similar to that.
Yeah, or like one-up mushrooms in Super Mario 64, if you've heard of that.
Something like that.
If you've heard of that little old title. So yeah, you'll see a lot of instances where it looks like I'm going off the beaten path, and most of the time it's going to be specifically to collect those. One other thing worth noting is that whenever you hit a checkpoint, well, actually, one thing I also should note about the golden key cards is that if you ever hit a checkpoint or die before you collect it, you actually have to go all the way back to get it, which can lose a bit of time if you're not careful, but we shouldn't have to worry about that in this run, hopefully. But yeah, so one thing I want to point out about checkpoints is that you can actually use them for checkpoint abuse quite a bit in this run. So you'll see me hit that one, and then I'm going to collect 2 more golden key cards down in this area. So after I collect this one, there will be one on the room to the left, and as soon as I collect it, I'm going to want to immediately reset and take me back to the checkpoint. And that's just a little bit faster than, actually significantly faster, than walking the whole way back. So I'll be doing that.
Yeah, and that's used pretty much everywhere in the run.
Yeah. So coming up here, we're also going to see our first warp point. This will be warp point 2. We don't talk about warp point 1 in this category. But I'm actually going to be skipping most of the warp points in the game for this run, and that saves a little bit of time with menuing later. But we'll talk about that when we get there. So one other thing worth noting, I guess, in this section is that I actually lost that thought. Crep, do you want to take over for a little bit?
I don't know where you were going with that.
Oh yeah, this room. So this room is a pretty early run killer because when you collect this key card, it pulls up the interface and that kind of blocks your view for a little bit. And that can usually happen, that death there. It's not a big deal. Like luckily, whenever you die, you don't typically lose a lot of time and you get right back into it. But I'm going to set another checkpoint warp there, and that's because we're on our way to get the ability to throw Elec's head. And that'll be used to solve many of the puzzles in the run, but once I collect it, I'm going to have a kind of tough skip where I have to do a blind jump, a blind head throw, and then a blind turnaround, all while the interface is covering me up. So here goes nothing. And we got it! No, we didn't. I'm going to try that again.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
All right, third time's a charm. This is Friday the 13th look right here.
You got this.
That looks good. Hey! Third try is actually not that bad there.
That ain't bad.
But yeah, what you want to do there is basically just avoid going into the pit. But anyway, now we have the ability to throw Elec's head, and we can use that for a lot of the puzzles and use it for quite a few skips. So in the next room, for example, you're meant to throw Elec's head into the upper left corner of the room, and then go around counterclockwise to collect it. But instead, we can just barely keep it levitated above us and go over the lasers below us. Normally, if you just walk over there, you immediately die once you hit the lasers. But if you throw it precisely enough, you can just do that. And there will be a couple skips like that throughout the run where we just do it in totally unintended ways.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy since we have like decently limited movement options here, and there's still so much we can do to break the game. So coming up here is going to be warp zone.
Coming up on warp 3.
Yeah, but if you ever want to skip a warp zone, well, actually, first we have this lovely little moon city that we get to glimpse at. Oh yeah, we're on the moon, by the way, in case that's relevant. But yeah, so we're just gonna
I didn't even know that.
So we're just gonna keep ElecHead levitated right there and avoid hitting the warp zone. Again, that will save time menu in later. And in this room, we can do a cheeky little skip here by a precise throw and kind of wiggling the head between the platforms there. And this room is pretty hard when you're first learning the game, but with enough practice, it becomes really trivial and really satisfying to go through quickly. So right here, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I should hit the platform as it comes back. Perfect. And I'm going to set up another skip in this room by lining myself up with this wall. And by doing so, I can throw ElecHead across that gap and skip having to go clockwise through that whole room. That saves like 5 to 6 seconds, I think. And another mechanic regarding the checkpoints here is that if you hit one, it resets the puzzle in the room you're in. So after I collect this key card, if I hit any single one of the checkpoints, that will send it back and I have to get it back to unlock the door in front of me, so otherwise I can't progress. And we definitely don't want that to happen, so. This next room is a good time to point out that there is a time limit on how long Elec and his head can be separated. So if you look at his body, there's a countdown that starts from 10, and if that ever reaches 0, Elec just blows up and you go back to the last checkpoint you hit. And that is never useful in speedruns, so ideally we avoid letting that happen at any point ever. There will be a couple of times later in the run where we cut it really close and the countdown hits 1. And I'll be sure to point those out when we get there, but if I play well enough, we shouldn't die because of it. So Argick, now would actually be a pretty good time for some donations.
Thank you all. We have a $50 donation from Lark that says, "Hey, Uncle Slam, it's your girl. Congratulations on your shocking debut into AGDQ with ElecHead. Let the sparks fly and may you run at the speed of lightning."
Oh, thank you, Lark. That donation really amped me up.
Way!
I'll be here all week. Actually, no, I won't. I'll only be here for like 15 more minutes. You can keep going.
All right, we got a really wholesome one here. We got a $50 donation from GDQ Mom, who says, "Shout out to my son, Lucas. Happy to have introduced you to speedrunning and love that we can share the excitement of GDQ together." That is an absolutely amazing donation. I love that. That's brilliant.
All right, so coming up, we have a room I call the throws room, and that's because we have to get 5 head throws in a row after Elec jumps. And there's a very tight, I think it's 3 to 4 frame window for each throw I do, where I don't lose momentum, so hopefully that goes well. Again, it is Friday the 13th, so we'll see. All right, so here's the room. 1, 2, 3. Missed the 4th one, but that's all right. 4 out of 5 is still really good for that room.
That is really good still.
I'm not disappointed about that. All right, so coming up here, we have kind of an RNG platform. Right there, it did get powered back on immediately as Elec's head touches it, but sometimes it just won't, even though the head and the platform are clearly touching. I don't know why that happens, but worst case scenario, it loses 3 seconds at most. So not a huge deal. Warp zone number 4 is right there, and again, we don't activate it for reasons. And this next section deals a lot with cannons. So as soon as you activate any cannons, they will start firing balls of electricity, and if they touch Elec or his head, then he will die, and again, that is bad news bears. So ideally, we avoid that happening at all costs. But yeah, that's essentially what this section entails. The rest of it is pretty chill, so Argick, if you have any more donations, now is a perfect time for them.
We do indeed. We have a $100 donation from Caleb that says, "Finished my master's last year, now starting a new job I love. What better way to celebrate than to watch some incredible runs and give back to an amazing event. Thanks GDQ, and thanks to all the runners." And thank you, Caleb, for that as well. And then we have a $200 donation from Grant that says, "I finally have the funds to give the amount I've always wanted to GDQ. Thank you for all the years of entertainment, wholesomeness, and community. Less than 3.
I have time for one more.
All right, we got a $25 donation from Not Your Average Tenor that says, "Happy to support AGDQ for the 2nd year in a row."
Yeah, so it's worth noting that the room I hit as I ascend the next room actually does have a crazy strat where you can beat it in 1 cycle of the cannons. I will not go for it because it is very not marathon safe, but it is only 2 seconds faster, so I'm not too concerned about it. Shoutouts to Agremi, the world record holder, for finding it and actually using it in his runs. He's an absolute god at this game. Alright, so coming up here, we're actually going to do a pretty decently significant skip for how short the category is. If I hit it, I will save a second and a half. If I don't, I will lose over 10 seconds. So hopefully it goes well. So in this room right here, you'll see that giant wall of electric balls that gets fired as soon as I power on that platform. So after I collect this golden key card, I'm going to throw ElecHead as soon as I possibly can, and then follow behind all those electric balls. This should work. But the whole thing you're skipping here is that in this room here, there are lasers on the top you're meant to activate to destroy all of the electric balls behind Elec. But if you squeeze it just tight enough, you can hop into this next room and get out of the way right before they hit him. Just like so. Bada bing, bada boom.
Nice.
All right, so coming up here, we're actually going to see Warp Zone number 5. And this one we actually do need to activate for the speedrun. Otherwise, there's no way to actually get the alternate end of the game. And as soon as I do, I am going to do a checkpoint abuse to the checkpoint that's immediately in the room. And I do want to apologize to GDQ for this next part because I know you're not supposed to do this on Twitch anymore. But I'm going to come down here and I'm going to play some slots.
Uh-oh.
So 1, 2, 3. Ooh, we're going to reset that.
Unlike real slots, this is not random.
Yeah, there's a consistent pattern we do try to hit. So yeah. Now that we're back, we're going to go back to Warp Zone 5. And coming up here is a 30-second long minigame where I'm meant to collect 30 key cards in that time limit. So while I do this, Argick, the mic is all yours.
Why, thank you. We have a $25 donation from Glass that says, Uncle Slam, I am so excited to finally see you featured and a GDQ. The two of us have progressed a long way from where we used to hang out and speedrun various games on campus during our last years of college. Best of luck, good sir. I also hope everyone else is enjoying the marathon.
Thank you so much, Glass. That really means a lot.
And we also have a $50 donation from Flair Dragon that says, I've been following GDQ for years, and it's nice to finally get a donation in. It's so cool seeing just so many different games and speedrunners all come together for a great cause and a ton of fun. Thanks everyone involved that made this possible, and here's to an amazing marathon.
Yeah, thank you. One thing I should point out about that little minigame is that all of the patterns you just saw for the key cards are completely random. So that's like the only part of the run where I have to kind of improv it. So I'm really glad that, again, Friday the 13th, I didn't get screwed by bad luck, so pretty awesome there. Coming up here is a little trick that looks a little scary to people who have not seen this run before, where I just barely teeter the head off of the corner there. But if you're well practiced, you know exactly where to throw it. Also, right here, by going up the center here with a very precisely timed head throw and jump, you actually skip going to the right side of that room entirely. And that saves about 5 seconds. Again, shoutouts to Agree for finding that. But yeah, now is, you can keep going with donations, Argick.
Thank you. We have a $25 donation from Victoria S. that says, Hi, GDQ. Thank you for all that you're doing this year and every year. I'm donating in honor of my husband, Jonathan's birthday, as it's this week. I love watching GDQ with him every year. Let's kick cancer's butt. And thank you to everyone involved for making this happen. You're all awesome. Let's raise all the money and speedrun all the games. Much love from Tennessee. And just a quick update, we do have more games, we have more incentives as well. Don't forget to put your donations towards the incentives that we have available. We've got Cult of the Lamb coming up soon, and we're going to be fighting the true final boss. Is currently at $5,899 out of the $50,000. And we want to see that lamb be victorious.
Yeah, we definitely want to see that, guys. That and Trackmania, both great incentives.
Oh, Trackmania.
So right here, I'm going to throw the head in. It's very important that I don't collect it when I land on that platform because we want to be short enough to go below those electric balls and barely beat that second set that comes out. That's actually very, very bad if you die there because it gets sent way back because you don't really hit any checkpoints between the last one you hit and that room. So I'm really glad that didn't happen in this run. So, Argick, more donations. Go for it.
We do. We have a really heartfelt one here. We have an massive $800 donation from 4 Baby Cakes. It says, we ran a fantasy football league this season to raise money and make a donation to a charity of the winner's choosing in honor of my younger brother Ray, who passed away this year at the age of 33. He was a big competitive gamer and loved watching AGDQ every year, so our winner Wade thought this was the perfect place to put the money. We miss you, Ray, and shout out to his fiancée, Sarah. Fins up and make good choices. That is absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, just that is an amazing story.
You have time for like one more quick one.
We got a $25 donation from Rugged Bubbles that says, what a great week. Thank you, runners. What you accomplish in 1 week is incredible.
All right, so I want to talk about what's going on in the next couple of rooms here. So I mentioned earlier that there will be a few instances where we cut it really, really close with the timer on ElecHead time limit. And the first instance we're going to see here is in this room right here, where I throw ElecHead from the left onto that platform. You're meant to throw it from the right, but if you do it from the left, you barely have enough time to grab that key card, open up the door, and grab his head just as the timer hits 1. So that only saves like a fraction of a second, like a fifth of a second at most, from not having to turn around. But I like my time saves, and I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, so of course I'm going to go for that in a GDQ run. So coming up here, we have the last warp zone we want to hit. Whoop. And that is warp zone ? Actually. So as soon as I hit it, we're going to collect our last 2 golden key cards here. The first one is right here, and we're going to warp back before we hit the spikes below. And coming up here, again, we're going to cut it really, really close on the timer, but since I left the head right where we warp back to, as soon as I collect this golden key card, I can warp back immediately. And just like that, we got 1, and we've got 2. So this is the room where we find out if we have all 20, which we do. And from here, it's just a straight shot to the end of the game. So I want to use this opportunity to recommend this game to anyone if it looks interesting to you, if it's sparked your interest at all. Casually or as a speedrun, it's only like $10 on Steam, full price, so I really recommend it. And if you do want to get into the speedrun, if you go to speedrun.com/ElecHead, there's a link to the Discord there you can follow, and it'll get you connected with people like me, people like Crep, other members of the community who are really happy and willing to help you out however we can with this game. And it's a small community, but we love it. So time will be in a couple seconds here as I throw ElecHead for the final time this run. Actually, no, it's the next room, sorry.
It's very long.
Getting ahead of myself.
There we go.
Time. All right, so real quickly here, I want to do some quick thanks and shoutouts. First off, thanks GDQ for allowing me to run this. This has genuinely been a dream come true. Thank you to Crep for being here. I know it's really early for you, so I do appreciate it. And shouts to the rest of the ElecHead speedrunning community, especially Agreemy. I learned so many strats just from watching his runs, so that's been really helpful preparing for this run. Also, big shoutouts to the Michigan Tech Speedrun crew. I know you guys are watching. Appreciate all of you. And I want to thank the creator of this game, Nama Takahashi. This entire game was a one-man project, and the amount of love that oozes out of every corner of this game is just like too much for me to mention in the time I have. So thanks to him. Finally, I want to thank 3 people in particular, those being a little live streamer by the name of Fire Dragon, as well as my friends Hicks and Nathan. Those 3 were all integral to getting me interested in speedrunning, so if not for them, I probably would not be here right now showing this game to you. So big thanks to all of them. Crep, do you have anything to say?
I don't think so. I think that's good.
All right, well, thank you.
Good
If this interested you guys at all, on my channel, we like Nintendo, we like Pac-Man, we like indie games, and we like to have a chill time. So if that interests you at all, feel free to give a follow if you would like to. And our final time is 16:23. That's actually really good for a marathon run.
It is really good.
Yeah, so for reference, my PB is a 15:57, so that's not even half a second or half a minute slower. So, all right, GG. Argick, take us out.
Tap very much. That was an absolutely awesome run there. Quick donation before we go here. Lovely little pun as well. We got a $50 donation from Demon Fire that says, why would you tell a duck a joke? Just to see it quack a smile. And now we will be right back after that. You're not growing for that one. We will be right back after this quick break with some Gunstar Heroes. Welcome back to AGDQ 2023 Online, powered by Twitch. We're getting ourselves set up for the next run, which is Gunstar Heroes. But before that, we have an interview with the runners. Check this out.
Hello, everybody. I'm Feasel, and I'm here with the runners of Gunstar Heroes, Bag the Tea, and TapatioJ. Thank you both for joining me.
Yeah,
I'm
thanks for
Bag
having
the
us.
Tea. Yeah, this is great.
All right, so you're doing a co-op run of Gunstar Heroes, and I think one of the big things that stands out is just the first things that jumps out at you is the weapon combination that you're using, the weapon choice. Tell me a little bit about that and why you're using that.
Yeah, so weapon choice in Gunstar Hero, there are 4 different types. You have fire, we call it laser, but it's thunder or lightning. We just call it laser. There's the homing one, which is green, called chaser, and then there is it's called force. It's like a machine gun. Basically, in most of the speed runs, it's going to be chaser plus fire. It makes a fireball that flies across the screen that you can control, and that's what most runners use. It does a ton of damage. You can get to any enemy at any time because this thing you can just control it across the screen. But we don't do that. We decided that it's murder on your thumb because you got to just constantly be doing circles with it. And as good a damage as it is, the laser fire, which makes a lightsaber, does just about as good damage. You just have to find the right positioning for it. And the other thing about it is, 1, it's cool. It's a lightsaber.
Right.
I love that. 2, it actually has some defensive properties. So unlike any other weapon in the game, it can stop fireballs and projectiles. So there are a couple boss fights and just enemies that I can just stand there with the lightsaber out, and it'll just stop all the projectiles, and we can get all the damage in there. And it's our lightsaber run. It wasn't, quote, the meta in terms of what weapon to take for a speed run, but we took record with it. So we're changing the meta.
Yeah, it is always interesting to see when something kind of defies your expectations like that, and there's a story behind it, because you know it's an intentional choice, and you see something like that, and you're like, huh, what was the reason there? So let's talk a little bit about the co-op aspect of this. So how does a co-op run of this compare to a single-player run?
Yeah, so it's actually it goes really kind of hand in hand with the weapon usage. The reason why we're able to kind of use that more defensive weapon and kind of have it to that style is because our main damage actually comes from one another. The main thing you actually use is throwing your teammate into enemies, and actually does massive amounts of damage to the bosses. It really cuts through waves of enemies. So instead of actually using our individual, kind of gun weapon, we're actually just doing the throwing teammates, kind of like Chippendales. You're always throwing your teammates, and that's kind of a really main mechanic of the co-op run. We've really incorporated that into this run. As far as getting through sections of the levels quickly, getting through the bosses really quickly, the HP just absolutely melts. So we found that actually just kind of giving ourselves the best setup to utilize that is the best thing to do. So that lightsaber weapon really comes into play with it, and just overall kind of our positioning more comes into play than any kind of individual weapon doing damage.
And now you've both got a long history running this game, right? How did you get started running this game?
That started when he first introduced me to, 1, people watch people play games on Twitch, and 2, speedruns are pretty neat. You should check this out. And so I've been playing Gunstar Heroes since I was a kid. It was one of the first games I had on Sega. Wish I still had the cartridge. But basically the thought was, like, what would be a good speedrun game? And the fact that when you throw your teammate, like we said, it does massive damage. That just seemed like a really cool game to do a co-op run. And we started off, and it proved to be exactly that, just kind of ridiculous fun. And we just kept going from there.
So it's just kind of obvious to do this as co-op when you saw that particular move.
Exactly.
Yeah, and me and Bag, I mean, I've known this guy for about like 15 years or so now. We've been playing all sorts of games, a lot of co-op games. It's really cool to see like Dead Space 3 in the marathon as well. Like that's something we really enjoyed playing co-op through. We've doing speedruns and stuff like Gears of War. We've done kind of co-op stuff with that, and then just kind of playing with our friends and just like kind of games, co-op games, team games in general with all those folks. It kind of lends itself into that. We both have a little bit of a history in like kind of 2D platformers and speedrunning as well. Bionic Commando was something that Bag has speedrun, Comic Zone, that sort of thing. I have a history from Super Mario 3 and that sort of thing back. So kind of it was a nice kind of collaboration of all those things coming together, kind of the best of all the worlds.
Awesome. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing this run. You guys got to get ready for that. And that is all the time that we have. But I really want to thank you for taking some time to talk to me today.
Of course.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. Looking forward to it.
All right, everybody. Stay tuned for Gunstar Heroes, which is coming up next.
All right, are we ready? I am very excited. We have got Gunstar Heroes coming up next with TapatioJ and Bag the Tea. Take it away.